Hey guys, we have a dinner recipe video for you guys today. We definitely try to simplify this as much as possible, so if you don't cook at all, you can do this. It's easy. I promise you don't have to cook all four, but I want to show you 4 different ideas, and all 4 would work together really great as a meal. So if you want to maybe bring one of the sides to potluck or cook this meal for your family, your friends, significant other, whoever, it's really easy and it's delicious. I will say that we kind of eyeballed everything, but each one you can really adjust to taste. Let's get right into it. We are going to start with mac and cheese, so bring some water to a boil, and you can use different kinds of pasta, but just use something with the little ridges on it so that the cheese really clings on. We went with mini penne. Go ahead and cook that for 5 to 6 minutes depending on the type of pasta you want it to be al dente. And we're going to go ahead and multitask at the same time, so I'm just cleaning off the potatoes and going to cook that down because it takes a long time for potatoes to soften. Once your pasta is done cooking, go ahead and drain it. And now for the cheese. You can use different types of cheeses. You can use pre-shredded cheese, shred your own. We're going to use this Kraft sharp cheddar and some Gouda. Using multiple cheeses just adds more dimension to the flavor, and it's so good. Alright, now it's time to melt the cheese down. We're going to use some sour cream in place of heavy cream. It's a little bit healthier. And some whole milk. And just go ahead and whisk that up until it's thin enough. I felt like it was still a little bit thick, so just added some more milk to thin that down. And then you want to whisk in the cheese and keep whisking. Don't stop. Keep pouring in and whisking it until all of the cheese is melted and well integrated. A pro tip is once it's all melted, you could even put a hand mixer to this mix so that the cheese ends up being extra smooth, because cheese just naturally has a little bit of grittiness to it, especially depending on what you use. Then just added a little bit of nutmeg for flavor. But that's basically it. Mix your pasta in. Make sure there's a good amount of cheese to pasta because you don't want there to be too little cheese. Chop up some chives for some flavor and garnish, and you are done. Now onto the starch. I'm going to call these literal mashed potato patties. And this is why we had to cook the potatoes first, because they do take a long time. So stake it. If the fork goes in easily, that means it's soft enough. And what you're going to do is just use 2 bowls or 2 plates, and you're just going to wedge it in between and just softly flatten it. Simple as that. Then we just want to melt down some butter. I just cut it up so that it melts down faster. Place in your potato patties. Toss in some thyme for extra flavor. The hard part is flipping it because it can be a little bit delicate, but it's totally worth it. Lastly, just sprinkle a little bit of salt on top, and then you're done. Next, we have honey soy drizzled chicken. Oh, so good. So for the breading, you're going to whisk up some eggs in one plate, and then you're going to place some flour, and I just did some salt, onion powder, garlic powder, and just sprinkle that in, and then you're just going to mix that together. And then in your pan, you're going to put in some oil. I'm just using corn oil, and we kind of went all out and went with butter, but you don't have to do butter if you don't want to. And then for the chicken, you could use whatever you want. You could use chicken breast, you could use chicken thighs. We went ahead and just used this really thin chicken breast just so it's easy. Coat it with the egg on both sides and then the flour mix on both sides. Just shake that off and then carefully place it in the pan. Once you see that the edges are starting to brown up a little bit, you can flip it. Now for the honey drizzle, you want to have a little bit of water in the pan and then add the honey. We actually didn't make too much of this drizzle, but feel free to add more. Toss in some thyme for some extra flavor yet again. And then we also want to balance out the sweet flavor with some soy sauce. So just keep adding in the soy sauce until you're happy with the way that tastes. Let that simmer for a bit. Drizzle your honey over the chicken. Garnish it with some thyme, and you're done. Lastly, let's whip up some sauteed kale. It's easy, it's delicious, it's good for you. So we're just going to chop up half of a shallot. We also already had some garlic chopped up, but go ahead and chop up some garlic as well. And then I just went ahead and chopped up the kale. Add some oil to your pan and let that heat up. Start sauteing the shallots until it becomes a little bit translucent, and then throw in the garlic. Cook that down for a little bit too, and then just throw in the kale. You're going to see that this wilts down very fast, so even though it seems like a lot, it really isn't. So just go ahead and cook that down. Add a dash of salt and pepper to taste, and you're done.